Welcome to Stories of Black American History, where we explore the people, places, and events that define generations. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and celebrate the enduring legacy of Black history. Subscribe to learn something new with every story. Don't forget to like the video and click the bell to receive more Black history content. Without further ado, let's get started with today's video. A glimmer of hope in a world remade. Imagine the world as it stood in the final, chaotic months of the American Civil War. Generations had known nothing but the brutal institution of slavery, a system that defined their every moment from birth to death. Then, with the thunderous advance of Union armies, this centuries-old foundation cracked and crumbled. For nearly 4 million African Americans, freedom was no longer a distant dream whispered in secret. It was a dazzling, disorienting, and tangible reality. This newfound liberty, however, was fraught with uncertainty. Without homes, without possessions, and without land to call their own, what would this freedom truly mean? How could a people build a future when they possessed nothing but the clothes on their backs and the scars of their past? Into this whirlwind of change and apprehension, a powerful rumor began to spread like wildfire through the refugee camps and liberated territories of the South. It was a rumor that carried the weight of a profound and life-altering promise: 40 acres of land and a mule. This was not merely an offer of charity. The genesis of a promise. Special Field Orders Number 15. The famous phrase did not emerge from thin air or wishful thinking. It had a specific and documented origin. On January 16, 1865, following his devastating march to the sea, Union General William Tecumseh Sherman met with a group of Black community leaders in Savannah, Georgia. When he asked them what they needed to truly be free, their spokesman, Garrison Frazier, answered unequivocally, they needed land. In response to this meeting and the logistical challenge of managing the thousands of freed people following his army, Sherman issued Special Field Orders Number 15. This military directive was a pragmatic solution born from the immediate pressures of war, not a comprehensive nationwide policy enacted by Congress. The order set aside a vast coastal territory, a strip of land stretching from Charleston, South Carolina to St. Johns River, Florida, for the exclusive settlement of formerly enslaved families. The swift reversal of fortune, the fragile hope cultivated by Special Field Orders Number 15, was shattered with shocking speed. The pivotal turning point came on April 15, 1865, when President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. His successor, Vice President Andrew Johnson, was a Southerner from Tennessee who held vastly different views on how the nation should be reconstructed. He harbored animosity toward the wealthy planter class. He held deeply prejudiced views toward African Americans. He opposed federal land grants and protections for their civil rights. Acting on a vision for a swift, lenient restoration, President Johnson began issuing sweeping pardons to ex-Confederate landowners in the summer and fall of 1865. Those pardons restored political rights, restored property, including land redistributed under Sherman's order. Johnson explicitly countermanded Special Field Orders Number 15. The promise was officially and unceremoniously broken. Freed people reacted with disbelief, betrayal, and fierce resistance. They had been granted land by the U.S. military and believed their claim was just and legitimate. Many refused to leave, standing their ground and pleading with federal officials to honor the government's commitment. Delegations of freedmen wrote petitions, met with officials like General Oliver O. Howard, imploring him not to take away our lands. They argued a moral right to the land, having enriched it with their sweat, blood, and unpaid labor for generations. Their pleas were largely ignored. By late 1865 into 1866, the U.S. Army, once liberator and guarantor, was now ordered to remove them. Soldiers forced Black families off their 40-acre plots. Former Confederate owners returned, brandishing presidential pardons, demanding immediate removal. The reversal was complete and devastating, pushing most families into landless dependency, forcing many into exploitative labor arrangements. It was a devastating turn. The immediate consequence of this reversal was the entrenchment of a new system of economic subjugation across the South. Sharecropping. Without land of their own, the vast majority of freed people had no choice but to enter into contracts with white landowners, many of whom were their former enslavers. Under the sharecropping system, a family would work a plot in exchange for a share, typically one half. They secured food, tools, seed, and supplies on credit at exorbitant rates, creating a vicious cycle of debt, peonage, a thinly veiled extension of slavery. Lacking land, Black families had no foundation upon which to build generational prosperity. The failure to secure an economic foothold left them vulnerable to coercion, intimidation, and political disenfranchisement. White landowners used economic power to control votes, suppress organizing, and enforce white supremacy. The dream of independent farming was replaced by poverty and powerlessness. The feelings of betrayal ran deep and would linger for generations. Though short-lived, the phrase 40 acres and a mule echoed through history as a metaphor for broken promises. Invoked by activists, scholars, and everyday people, it signaled that political freedom without economic justice is incomplete. The long-term effects are stark and measurable, visible even today in 2025. While millions of acres were granted to white settlers via the Homestead Act, land was taken from freed slaves in the South. That divergence forged a racial wealth gap affecting housing, education, health outcomes, and political influence. Thank you for watching. If you learned something new today or want more powerful stories from stories of Black American history, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. Your support helps keep these stories alive.